Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to One Page Story Extravaganza, episode 164 of 2023. It's a lot of numbers. All right. Hope everybody's having a good day. Let's get this sucker all switched up here. I've been having a good day today. So, well, I haven't. It's been a busy day. Busy days can be good, right? Busy days can be intense, but busy days can also be very, very good. So that's what I'm banking on. I hope everybody is doing okay, working on projects that they're choosing to work on, etc., etc., etc. And it takes a lot to be motivated sometimes, and sometimes it's just about the randomness of it. Sometimes you just have to, honestly, just go for it. Just lean into it. Just lean into the random. So, and the things that might be produced out of that, surprising. It can be really surprising. So, okay, here's today's page. I hope you hit 1,000. Hey, thanks, Jim. That's nice of you. This is episode 164 of One Page Story Extravaganza. The realization, Lori had said something to me recently, and for those that don't know, Lori's my partner. Lori said, you're going to hit 200 by the end of the month, and there was no way I was going to hit 200 in a month, because at the time, I think I'm like 160 people, and this is not very long ago, and she says, yeah, it'll happen. And I'm like, what do you know? So I believe I made a promise that if that were the case, I would have to take her out for a nice dinner. So there's there's a good chance of taking her out for dinner. I want to take her out for dinner anyway, so we're kidding. Hi, Miriam. Welcome aboard. Good to see you. Good to see everybody that's here. There's those that are saying hi and those that aren't. This is today's page. Today's page is beavers. It's the page that I started yesterday. It is alcohol-based markers as well as ballpoint pens. And so what I ended up coming up with was with 3 prompts. From the 3 prompts that I was given of beavers, blinking, and boisterous. What I ended up doing was this page. Now, this is the page in a proper order. And hey, Aditi, welcome aboard. So this is a page in a proper order. And with that, there is a jumbling of the original way that the panels are initially laid out in the original material, in the source material. I'll show you. I'll make the old switcheroo to the second one, which is this. And so this is really what the original looks like. And the reason for that, and the weird upside down, shifty lifty bit of business, is for me to fold up into a little book. Now, I've done one more of these before this, and the previous one was armadillo, tradesman, and laughter, or armadillo, any tool, and laughter. And so there would be what the original layout of that looked like. So, whoops, I'm sorry, subtle changes between the two. I went for different color palettes, utilized different tools, mark making in there. And then the finished image for the one-page stories is got different border setups on it. But so switching to the overhead cam. Hey, look at that. Okay, so on so the finished original for this beavers. What? I don't know why. What? But he says what. So he's constantly blinking. I don't mind tooting my horn. I had an adventure. Cup of tea. Aye, sounds lovely. So anywho, I saw this beautiful peach tree. I knew they grew it for me, so I took it. Tea? Thank you. So what happened then? Right. Some lady chased me all the way to the river. That's Janet. She got me in the eye with her broom. Blink, blink. Got that tree, though. So, there's the next zine that follows. I went a little bit differently. I just did a whole straight story as opposed to, and hey, you! I have an Armadillo Tools advertisement halfway through. So, this is a really faded version. This isn't for anybody. This is the original print I did of it when I realized, hey, my printer's running out of ink. So there's 2 so far, and hey, you and beavers. So we've got 2 more in the works because I have located where this the 3 prompt suggestions were that I was supposed to be working on. So that means I'm doing an extra one. Why not? Right? Why not, kids? So let's see. We've got a whole bunch of things that I'm missing. Just give me a second. I'll come say hi. Miriam says that she was reading that. No, I was reading that. Sorry. Well, you'll see it. You'll see it's on the thing on my Instagram, on my Facebook, and you'll hopefully maybe that'll be one of the ones that you get in the Swapperoonie. Get the camera up. Good job. Okay. There's Barbara. How are you, Barbara? Okay, so welcome aboard, everybody, and I hope everybody's having a good day. It's a mad world. I can't show you, but can you hear that? That is the sound of the cover of the book that'll be coming out in the fall. So that's what I've been working on this morning, is trying to finish that. So, what? That was a thumbs up. Here comes. Don't be afraid. All right. I need a drink. A lot of paperwork, a lot of nonsense, trying to get muster up some people that come to our convention in so many weeks next month. Ridiculous. People ghost you. All right, so yeah, hey, let's work on you. What's your name? Larry. Okay. So I don't have anything specific in mind to work on. Hiya, Chris. Welcome aboard. Okay. Whoop, there it is. Hiya. Okay, so this is one of the, I've been doing some more jelly plating, and putting together some more images, doing some more stuff, and working on a bunch of things that while I'm not doing the streams is when I get little breaks for mental health from the other things that I'm working on. And so I've got lots of surfaces to do now. And it's very compelling and exciting to me. It's a funny thing, though. You get inspired, encouraged to want to do more of this sort of process in order to put more of this out there, to put more of this material, to have it incorporated into your toolbox. But in all honesty, you can produce so much of it so fast. You gotta make that choice. Canadian Artisan says, hi, everyone. Hiya, Canadian. Okay, so let's go to the book. So there's some suggestions I added this morning, like Cat Butler World Domination and one-page comic of Corbin. Zippy the Unicorn is a suggestion. Paul holding Paul with no pants, holding a coin, everybody refusing it. 40 years, mortgage of the building paid. Oh, that's for someone else. Yeah, so we've got, if you could, these are cool. What can we do with you? All right. The Sinister Minister from Westminster is another suggestion recently. And then this is some ones that came up with family when we're chatting about some other stuff. Where's Corbin and his fashion eyewear? Likely on the porch reading War and Peace? No, he's decided to take in the sun as he summers up in Laurie's office. So he's summering upstairs. He's very happy with it. Yeah, okay, so we've got a number to choose from. I'm still catching up on some others like Frankenstein's a Hairdresser, a backwards one-pager. Ooh, that sounds like a challenge. What? National holiday is done. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Check. That's done. We've got some more Pangea. Okay, well, let's go back to the oldest one that I have here in the book, which is this backwards one-pager. And take a crack-a-lacka at that sucker. Now, I'd also suggest that I was going to work vertically today. This is not vertically. So this is vertically. So let's do that. Is there any surface that anybody has seen that they would prefer I try it on? Barbara says, like that Seinfeld episode where they show the whole episode backwards? Yeah, probably. Miriam says, hi, Carol. Is Carol the name of the Canadian? It is! All right. If I still call you Canadian, it's because I'm that forgetful. Hey, let's other stuff I'm working on. I don't know. Is there anything specifically that anybody has seen that they think I should be doing today's page on? Feel free to say the red one, the purple one, the pink one. But preferably if it's an actual one. I should maybe just do this thing. Contents. Okay, so we're going to tell a story backwards. All right, how are we going to do that? That's a fun challenge. All right. So I have got this majestic green pen. My green pen, Chris. Man, I'm glad you asked me that. Because it's the complementary color of the red. And that is the level of depth and complexity I've got for you today. But we'll look at doing that. Trying to just put things aside so I don't wreck them. Okay, yeah, so here we go. So we got a backward story. Let's break this down. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun with notes. Notes are great, Chris. Boy, that sounds great. I'm glad to hear you sing. All right, so if we're doing, today's suggestion is a one-page story done backwards. Okay, and then that's some fellow named Jim that suggested that. So that's our starting point today. Now, Miriam says, Chris, it's another case of Superman and Clark Kent. This is what Miriam calls cases of Superman and Clark Kent, is when somebody has a different name, but a real name on the side. I'm surprised that people don't address you on the regular street as, hey, Art Curious. That'd be fun too, though, wouldn't it? Complexity. Great stream. Build your art school some vocab at the same time. Uh-oh. Words are hard. Well, I will try to diminish my over-extrapolative vernacular for you. I'll get down my wool-pulling perambulations and sit myself down here to get to work. All right, let's think this through. If we're doing a page backwards, okay, we're going to do this in vertical panels today because I said I would. Now because we're going backwards, we want to think of an instant. Now, the best and easiest way to do this would be to plot out 4 events as they happen one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, right? And if we can plot out those 4 actions moving forward, then we can plot those 4 actions moving backwards. But the difference being is that how do we make this a story told backwards, but yet at the same time, in order to sell that as a story going backwards, we have to move the panels of the story and the story itself forwards. See what I'm getting at? We can have the happenstance in reverse, but we need to tell the story back to the origin point. So that's the tricky part, right? Curious. There we go. It was yesterday, Barbara. Yeah, complex words. I'm sorry. Barbara says, myopic rodents, 3 myopic rodents observe how they perambulate, observe. Barbara and her lyrics slip out. Okay, so one of the things that we can have, let's just take a specific action, right? And then if we have a specific action of a character, and then we return that backwards to its origin point, then what we can do from that is to have the person discussing what is happening to them. It's far more complicated to explain it than to just get into it, isn't it? Let's just get into it. All right. Okay, so we've got a ruler, and we've got how much space have we got here? About 8 inches. Let's say 7 3/4. And this guy is 4 or 2 across. That works out well, doesn't it? Yeah. So we're just going to be cagey little kittens and put this across like so. And have a little framing couplet at the end. Okay, so I'm going to come along the top. Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you, the music of today is a band called the Magic Numbers. They're wonderful. And if you like, like Fleetwood Mac and bands like that, try the Magic Numbers out. They're a lot of fun. Them's the Breaks, I believe, is, I gotta check. Those the Brokes. Those the Brokes. It's 4 people that grew up together, brothers and sisters. It's kind of cool. Okay, so now we've got established for us the 4 panels for the happenstance. But the tricky part of this, of course, is that we're going to have to draw them in reverse. So back to our plotting. If I have a person exploding, okay, like if I have, let's just take this as an action. All right, so here's Larry blowing up. And then what we can do with that is we can start it off with an emotional investment for the viewer of Larry's face at the time of explosion. We can have Larry flying through the air. We can have Larry's face in fear as he looks at, let's say, the briefcase. And then we can have the final panel being Larry approaching the briefcase. Okay, so, and then there's a little briefcase. That's a thumbnail. So these 4 actions, of course, it would be Larry approaching the briefcase. It opens, something happens. Boom, he explodes. And then the final panel is, of course, Larry going, whoa, right? So that's the direction of those 4 actions, but we're telling them in reverse. So that's telling a story backwards, a 1-page story done backwards. But what we can do textually is have somebody who's recapping the events do so in a forward linear fashion, right? That ends with, so he opened the briefcase. Yeah, he did. Okay, so that's our principal theory. That's what we've got. Okay, so that's what we're going to work with today. Uh-oh, Janet M. Young, where are you? Ruler skills are in progress. Yeah, they happen quick, very quick. Fleetwood Mac, yeah, the magic numbers. I'll write it down. I don't know if they're still going, but I enjoyed this, guys. I have 2 of their albums, and they're very good. But they all sing and harmonize together and sing different parts, and it's super cool. So I'm guessing that's the brief. Talking about briefs, anybody seen Paul? Anyways. Hi, Christopher and everybody. You missed it, Janet. I used the ruler once, and I'm never going back to it again. Okay. So, I have randomly opened the book. I have finally opened the book of faces. Facial expressions. I've been working solely from the cover for numerous projects, and so I've just randomly opened the book, and here's the face that I have found. Does it look like a scared face? And does it look like we have a hey now face? I think it does. So why don't we use that? I guess you heard me calling you in chat. I was using a ruler, and Barbara told on me. She said, Chris is using a ruler. Chris is, look, over there. Oh, that's moved again, didn't it? She's like, look, Chris has got a ruler out. I'm almost giving up on these stupid cameras at this point. Okay. All right, good enough. Okay, so we've got this facial reference book. I've said this before. It's one thing to sit here and hold on to this like gospel, and that you want to have it completely perfect to the image, the source image you're using. Don't worry about that stuff. Yeah, the whole point of it is for you to get a general idea of the subject that you're illustrating, and then moving on. Okay, so let's get doing that. Thank you everybody for taking part in yesterday's stream. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, we just got news today that my niece is doing. So after Lori's dad passed, we're back in the hospital that night after the funeral because my niece is really sick. So we haven't had any breaks. But I just got news that she's doing better today. So thank you everybody for all your prayers and thoughts. My ruler detection is operational. Woo! All right, so we've got our 4 images, and our 4 images are exclamation face. I don't need to move this, it's a camera. Exclamation face, explosion, the fear face, or the uh-oh, and him reaching down to the briefcase. So one of the things that we can do, though, is that because we've laid out these 4 equal-sized panels, we can, in illustrating our character leaning down to look at the suitcase, we're using a suitcase as our item that's going to get them. So right now I'm just drawing in our guy as he's leaning over the suitcase. And so we're just, working that up. Can you see that in camera? It's not appearing very well yet because even though I'm using a dark marker, maybe I'll just do it in reverse. I'll do it in reverse. You can see in reverse. Is that better? Yeah, it's working better. Okay. I'm trying to keep up on chat. If I'm missing stuff, I apologize. We'll get back to it in a second. So this is our briefcase guy. We'll call him Briefcase Jack. And I think this is as good as it's getting, folks, with this stupid setup. Everything shifted like it said yesterday, and with said shifting, it caused a big old kerfuffle in the old setup. So, we'll get there. Kat's joined us. Hiya, Kat. How you doing? So we've got our first guy going in. What did I have? I have him squatting down over the briefcase. So we'll put his legs in here and get his tension in the knees. Let's push. There's our calf, and we'll push his leg back here. I wish I could just play the music that I'm listening to for you, because I enjoy it so much. But it helps. You got to find those things that help your processes for creating. Okay, and for me, I like to listen to music. So there's the second leg, which is back behind. And we'll draw his hand moving forward. Am I missing stuff? Nope, we're still doing okay. Suitcase, valise, attache case, sophisticated lunchbox. There's a fantastic book that I have shown on the channel. And again, if anybody is interested in seeing some more books from the library, let me know. If there's certain things that we're looking to investigate. Yeah, I don't mind. Probably got something towards it. We can take a look for sure. But I don't mind showing my books here. I don't plan to do it. Like, I don't want to be that guy. So you look at all the things I got, But I've got X amount of them. So I don't mind sharing, that's for sure. Okay, so here's our guy. And again, everything's just sort of roughed in. And then we'll put our briefcase down. Now, the reason that I drew him first is it's our first action, and I'm doing this page backwards. Hey, it's Riri. Layout. Ooh, books from the bibliothèque. Always fun. Is there anything anybody wants to see? Is there anything specifically that you're interested in? Any certain types of books? Artsy, fartsy books. So the reason that I'm drawing this first is not just because it's the first action in our course of our backwards drawn piece. It's because I want to play with this to push outside of the panels and sort of set that precedence. And bibliothèque. Nous sommes dans la bibliothèque. Who's in the library? There's these French filmmakers that I really enjoy, Genet and Caro, and they do these films like Delicatessen and The City of Lost Children, and they're French. And I really like the French version, and how the characters speak is so different than the international release, the English one. And but some of the English dubs are so bad. I love them. What did you say to me? I don't know how to accept that. It's so good. Listen to me. And you can tell when it's the real actors that are doing it, because, they're just crazy sound. They sound crazy. Okay, so there's our first image. Now, the confines of the panel, I'll put 2 marks here. So you can see how both our character and the suitcase have pushed out. Now, I'm not going to leave these white. I'm going to, push. I'm just showing you as white so that we can walk through the whole page, and then I'll finish it. But okay, so there's our first image. So now we want a expression of curiosity, and at the same time, maybe a little bit of alarm, right? So I don't know. I know what this one is. This one here is going to be our, oh boy, uh-oh, spaghetti-o face. So I think what we're going to go with It's this one. There's some scrutiny in that one. There's some scrutinization. Okay, am I missing stuff? Everybody saying hi. Everybody saying hi to everybody. Didio, be right back. Or be right back. I'm going to lean into be right back. Okay, so we want that scrutiny. So the first thing we want to catch is that expression in the eyes, right? And so we're going for this one here. I'll try to set this up so you can see. We're trying to get this one right here, okay? Now, how big do we want it? Because do we want to have the progression of movement up like this? And if that's the case, then we're going to want to do, I said I'd do it backwards, and I'm sorry. I'll draw it backwards. Well, in, negative on positive. How's that? So as I'm drawing his eyes here, and so what I'm doing with the tip of my finger is as I put down the opaque, I'm diffusing it a little bit, just softening it up so that it's not this hard, sharp line. And so I'm getting underneath the eye right now. Hit that a little bit more. And we're coming in here. Into that cheek, and so that line follows up. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I've been battling with a dragon for my zine. Is that right? Like you're having to draw a dragon? Is that the challenge? If you're having a challenging time trying to figure out how to draw a dragon, and you feel like it's going to hold you back from doing it completely, don't draw a dragon. That's stupid, Chris. That's one of the suggestions. Hear me out. Instead, why don't you consider finding a dragon image and jelly plating it, right? And then if it's something that you could do it a couple of times. Like you could do a bunch of multiple versions of, you find a picture, photocopy said picture, and then jelly plate that a couple of different times. And then you've got those ready to assemble into your image, and you can make a whole bunch of modifications with color and different additions that you can make to each one of those images. But I think that a lot of people that have a challenge with drawing specific items can really start to, as soon as you can start to think outside that box and apply things like jelly plating in there, it'll open up some of the available images towards you for your compositions. And I don't see any problem with that. You're still assembling art. You're still doing all the creative thinking and processes of making. You're not a robot. Yeah! Okay, that might not be how you mean. Yeah, that's how I'm reading it. Good idea. I have lots of dragon images. I love them. Excellent. So there's something to think about, right? Okay, so here we go working on our character's expression. I don't know how well, so you can see how we built up around the eye, right? And we're leaving out those spaces, those volumes where we know that we're going to put a depth of value. That guy, the green. Barbara says, don't sweat it. Billy Bixby's mother says there's no such thing as a Drago. John Kent's book said there's no such thing as a dragon. Heck yeah, I'm not ashamed. Guys are crazy, man. So now I've moved across the brow ridge. we've got some of those fun little bits of detail in the forehead now. It is a little counterintuitive to put this medium down and to basically take it back immediately, but it allows us to control the solidity of the lines, the solidity of the value, cut down the opacity of it a little bit. Oh, well, misunderstand me not. I ain't afraid. Nice. I'm working on my final draft for my zine, LOL. 50 million sketches later. Excellent. Excellent. See, everybody works different ways, right? Like, that's the important thing to consider, is that what I did today with the planning of the page, I rarely do. And but this is, I wanted to make sure I had a comprehension of that. So however many things that you need for plotting out whatever projects that you're working on, there's no right or wrong number. Everybody has to work in their own way. And that's an important thing for a lot of people to remember. There's no point in keeping up with the Joneses, or, well, so-and-so does it this way. That's so-and-so. That works for them. Even if you take tutorials, even if you watch instructions from somebody else, this is the way to do it. For them is the part of the sentence that they often forget to say. This is the way, I do it. This is the way it works for me. So I'm now moving over to the other cheek as we're pulling in on his face. Miriam says, I have more problems to go to the shop to make copies than to do the zines, but next week I put myself a deadline so I can send them earlier. There you go. Riri says, way long ago, there was a sunset that had a dragon in it in pastel colors, and I drew it with pastels. I don't have it anymore, but I just ordered some pastels. They'll be here tomorrow. Nice. I'm glad to hear that you're following through on the deadline, Miriam. It's going to be tricky for everybody because, like, I have to have everything mailed before mid-month if it's going to get to Janet in time. Because it takes it, I think we tracked it, it takes at least 2 weeks for anything I send here to get to the southern states. So I'll probably have done the other two. I might do the last one, the fourth one, on Tuesday. Let's look at it that way. Okay, so you're starting. I hope to be able to see his face now. Didi's back. Strawberry chocolate pastel. Pastel means cake in Spanish. Oh my. I have a friend who was always talking about how much she had to do. I told her stop talking, just get crack-a-lackin'. I firmly respect the use of the word crack-a-lackin'. Crack-a-lackin'. Hard choices. Soft pastels, cake. Pastels, cake. You could really accidentally try to put an order through from pastels and get yourself a half a dozen, flavored cakes. And while you're busy eating those, you can just sit down and actually order the pastels next. So I'm putting down the raised surfaces of the face. And then using my finger to push down the values for the parts of the face that are receding in value. Or lower surfaces of the face. I like the complexity of the different textures in behind, and I generally ignore them while I'm working. But then I'll try to figure out how to incorporate them as we go. Miriam says, Barbara, it's not procrastination. I need to get out of the house. My son's very busy. I have a problem getting out of the house anymore. I do and I don't. You know, it's not like I'm stuck in the house and shut it, but this is a real thing for people, especially after all the, how does DDC, the virus. I don't do any justice to how cool it is, she says. Anyways, it's harder. I used to work downtown, and unfortunately, because of the disintegration of our downtown core of our city during the lockdown, I'm gun shy to go back. I worked downtown for 30 years, and I don't want to go there. Okay, where are we at? I'm missing stuff. The sea urchins keep changing their storyline on me. You're in Mexico, right? No, Miriam is in Israel. Thank you for watching from Israel. That's fantastic. And Chris Clue's in Mexico. Woo, yeah, I can't help you out there. Whoops. I'll just drive over and pick it up. I got to get one of them cars that's got the water propeller on it. Here's a magic question for people. How far can those cars drive into water? Or how deep of water can they drive in? Do you know the cars I'm talking about that can drive? See them in riverbeds. Ha ha ha, look at us. We can drive off the dock. You know. Like if you brought enough gas, could you cross, let's say, the English Channel? Go visit some cousins in France with your automobile. Okay, so here we are. Let's just finish some of the structures and the things here. Now, honestly, it would probably have been a little more proactive to have done this with just a brush and ink, but I didn't. Expect grand logic. It didn't happen that way. So I'm going to make a decision in a moment on whether or not I'm going to continue his face over here, because it's the key moment, I think, for here needs to be, more focused upon than him opening it. And then the explosion part and the reactive phase. The explosion part needs to cut across this panel, and maybe even this panel. We'll see. Born in Argentina, learned Hebrew there, English too. I wouldn't want an EV, and I have to evac a hurricane. What? When? Do you have to evac, Dee Dee? I believe they're called amphibious cars. Another big word for the stream. MNW is Miriam. Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, I think you can see that. Riri says, that was my fab grandmother's name, but spelled Miriam. Oh, there you go. I respond almost anything. Just don't call me late for dinner. I want an electric vehicle and have to evac. Oh, I see. Yeah. We are way away from it. I'm glad. Anybody that is in the path of these hurricanes, please be careful. We're in our thoughts. I remember that. You guys are right. Okay. Yeah, we got nothing here. We got no real weather. We get snow, but which I'm sure is pretty radical to some people. But here, nothing. As a young person, we had 14-foot snow drifts. We had snow was so bad that some of the kids were stuck in high school for the majority of a week. It's like just intense. The blizzards we used to have were fantastic, the ones in the 70s. I tobogganed out the second floor window of our house during those. Those were good. So here's some of the choices that were made. And now we're enhancing on those at this point in time. But not absolutely. Like, you want to leave, not have the whole thing be so defined by, and like opaque lines around everything. That's why I'm leaving this little red space inside here and this piece around the mouth. This little purse in the lip there. All right, so there's our guy. So this is going to have, this page has a lot of my fingerprints on it. What? So what I need to think about now is that I'm turning the camera in my head. And in order to have him, so I have to make a decision right now on what kind of outfit that he has in the foreground. And as I finish this more clearly, I will make those. This is the consistency of the outfit that he's got on. So we'll put him in a tie. And we'll put his jacket like so as it pops over. And then so we have to receive the second shoulder. And we're staying within the confines of that frame that we put down. Oh, her grandmother was a riot. My grandmother was Regina, and we had the same birthday. Barbara says, here we get snow. Oh, we also get snow. And yes, we get snow and chilly temperatures. You're out in the prairies, so there's songs about your temperatures and your snow. How cool is that? My grandmother and I were 6 days apart in birthdays. Well, that in a couple of years, right? Do you have snow in your town, Barbara? Oh, I think she does. I'm 6 days apart with my daughter. Oh, my. The Humidex, it's a pleasant 26 degrees Celsius. No complaints here. It's a warm one in London. How warm? I don't know. I don't like it. I'm a winter guy. I'm all about the winter time. Okay, so we've got him investigating the suitcase, him pulling back. So now we get to think of how are we going to do our character with the explosion. Oh, so here's an unexpected thing, right? This jelly-plated page, contents, right? That is just one of those happy accidents that we have to stay open towards. Because here we are talking about a person opening a suitcase that causes an explosion and leaves that. The fact that it says contents, I don't want to have anybody think in any way, shape, or form that I planned that, because I did not. But contents works as a great title for this story. It's the happy accidents, right? Happy. So I'm coming in now with the Buscapan. Push some of these solids in. Oh, looks like we're taking some off. Hold on. Paint. There we go. So I don't know how much it registers, but the idea here is that we're filling in these certain areas, and the more opaque those whites are, the more that they're going to seem to pull up. There we go. Throw some down there. So here's our guy. Now, I don't want to spend a million moments of time focusing on him. We're gonna keep moving forward, but just sort of, when you sort of say, oh, I gotta figure this out. I want to get it done now so I can resolve that and move on. Just do it. All right, there we go. And then we can add more value on top of this, on this paint, but we're just defining some of the forms in there. Okay, what am I missing? Because I do that. I'm happy come along. It's a great accident. Yeah, those are the accidents that we're looking for, really, everybody. If you can find yourself to be receptive to those things, it sort of allows you to go in unexpected directions that you might not have considered otherwise. There's a liberty in that. There's a real liberty in that. So if you do have those scenarios come your way, just stop for a moment and examine those, because if that can give you some sort of insight, some sort of direction of how can I take this image, how can I progress it further, it's free. It's a free one. All right, so I've been debating on. So I was scribbling in the old Sketcheroony, and I drew these little doodles of a guy jumping out of a window. And that's right, half T-Rex, half chicken, all fun. So when I'm drawing these guys here, I really like that a lot. So one of the things we can do on our very in-depth notes here is, now we can use this initial image that's considered, or we can make it far more dramatic and kick his body back some. Right? And so if we start to explore how that could go, it gives us something to consider, right? In these little sort of scribbles and thumbnails. Now, if we were to put this guy through here, okay, in our composition, then these feet can stick over here and the head can stick over into here. So that informs us, where we're really going to go into that fourth panel. Because if we've established identifiably that our guy needs this much space, that helps us out. That helps us know in advance. Let's switch up. Let's do this. Is that going to show up at all? No. How about you? We'll try this guy. Nope. Good enough. Okay, what am I missing? People jumping out of windows always disturbs me, reminds me of images of people jumping out of the Twin Towers from 9/11. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that, Baru. That's not upset you. There's the thing I showed you, because there's a lot of requests for that in storytelling. For others, I find that there's always somebody smashes through some odd thing. I'm trying to switch it up here. There we go. We'll use you. Okay, so this thing's just about dead. Unreliable, that's what that one was. Enough. Okay. So taking our sketch, we're throwing this image over top of here. Loose and slappy. Sometimes you gotta keep it slappy. Refine it as you go. Not overly worried about the finish on this because we're going to do more with it, but so the bend in the arms is to play with the idea of, the looseness of it. So there's our hand spaced out a little bit. Now this arm is coming from the shoulder, which is underneath the chest of the character. And so we'll contort that a little bit in order to keep it from going over top of the face, because we don't need that to be the case. And then we're going to put the rest of his personage here. And again, like I said, this is just us rooting this in so that we can now move forward. But we've got his anatomy for where he's going to be in the explosion. And just to make things happy, I'm going to outline him for you. Chris, we can't see anything. We can't even see our guy. Come on, guy, we can't see our guy. So there's our stretch proportions a little bit there. And then we've got this foot turning around, and then this foot turning in. And while we lay this in this way, we can make some decisions about whether or not we're going to leave it in this way. Okay, so there's our guy. There's our outline dude. There's our Deuterino. Okay, where are we at? Let's see. No worries, life moves forward. Look out, everybody, it's Gary Hodges. Hi, Gary. Welcome aboard. Okay, so now that leaves us with our backwards story. One-page story done backwards. So that leaves us with this fourth image, the explosion, right? So, and then of course, now that we have the basic framework of the page done, I can go in and add in some flourishes and things like that, and start to bring in and push back some of the elements that are in and around the principal characters in the foreground. But the idea of his expression now as he's being exploded as the final action allows us to understand clearly for ourselves in preparation for the storytelling part, because I don't write in advance, I write as I go. And we've set the 4 moments. There's moment 1, there's moment 2. Guy with briefcase opens briefcase, boom. And then number 4 is as he's exploding. And then there's our title. But what it actually is our title. And so you want to walk me through the steps, and takes it right up to the part where he says, so he opened a briefcase. Yeah, he opened a briefcase. Okay, so that's how we're approaching this. Now, textually, I might change my mind. There's a good chance I'm going to change my mind because I write on the cuff, right? Now, this is, I think this was the face that we're going to use for the explosion. Or was there another one? Oh, I'm sorry. Full of baloney. Full of baloney. There's the face. So we're going to distort this face. We're going to push it around. I got to be careful not to hit my keyboard here, because I've done that before. All right. Anybody saying hi to Gary? Where are you from, Riri? Okay. I'm curious where everybody is from. It's, I think most people are Canada, the States. Miriam's in Israel. Chris is in Mexico. I think Tori is in Ireland. I'm out of this world. Yeah, I know. So I know myself something. Okay. So here's the screen that we had before. So we know that this is the expression, right? But let's reduce this down into, oh, see, I did it again. Do it backwards so people can see what we're doing. So let's reduce this down. And what I mean by that is I'm going to focus on these specific parts of the features once again, like we did here in the face, but where we've built up some of that, we're going to make it more abstract, his face for the explosion part of it. And we can use more creative elements in there. My baloney has a first name, it's O-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name, M-A-Y-E-R. He asked me what I'll say. It's after my for me. Oh, yeah. Eastern Virginia, USA. Right. Is that the only thing I know about Eastern Virginia is... no, I'm sorry. I was wrong. It's Western Virginia that has mountain mamas, isn't it? It's songs that tell us everything incorrectly, don't they? My Muzak has ended. What was I? Yes, yeah, that's what I was listening to. I'll go with this one. All right, hot chili peppers. Okay, so I'm going to rough in some of the elements in his face here in a really weird kind of way for you. And maybe we'll try to incorporate this in, but it's expedite. It's a backwards way of working, I know, but all right. So now we've really pushed his expression in a really kind of a different and a sort of different abstract way so that we can come in there and do our finishes in a different way. Barbara says, the only thing I know is, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. I really feel there's no need to know anything more than that. What about, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. So we're going to take a different tack on this panel. And then we're going to pursue that tack through the rest of the page. Okay. And what we do, we put them in a, no, none of that really matters, but we put them in a shirt and tie. What's more important is what's behind them. We'll get into that in a minute. Okay, so there's our guy. Okay, so now we've got the structure of our backward story in place. And so we've got our 4 actions, which are actually drawn, as far as the panels go, in reverse. And the 4 different happenstance that, looks at the suitcase, uh-oh, boom, ouch, right? That's how I'm breaking it down. Okay, so the source image that we use, we've changed the direction of our image. And then we're going to push this around a little bit more. Now, because I've got the rough shape of the face in here, what the source image doesn't give me is how light works in the explosion. And so what I need to think about now is how, because if the explosion is coming from this way, there's certain planes that are going to be in shadow and certain things that are going to be more readily visible. So we have to think about those things as we're refining that face a little bit more. And I'm doing it really roughly. I know, but it's okay. We're exploring. Okay. I have, yeah, you'll do. What do we got? Oh, I haven't read Judy Blume in quite some time. I'm not into deep subject matter. At least you got my Judy Blume reference, Barbara. I live in a small town, and have a very small life that I left. No, that's not the words. I'm just thinking of John Cougar Mellencamp now. My life, like not unlike others, was way too complicated. It was previously way too complicated. I hear you. I hear you. I saw one of those stupid solicitation commercials where, hey, is your life too complicated having to get up and go to work each day? Well, you should just stay at home and, do this at-home business. You're not helping people. Okay, so I'm just purposely coming in here and putting in this deeper value on purpose, cutting in some of these shapes and shadows in here. This isn't what we're going to end up sticking with, but and then again in the forehead. It's pretty messy, but I think you're starting to get the idea. In our little town. Great Simon and Garfunkel tune. Oh, yeah. Oh, you betcha. Bassoon! That's because the kids were bassoon players. They started a bassoon rock band. So this is not a very opaque paint marker, and I like that. I like that sometimes when you buy these less expensive paint markers, they give you some extra little things because that lack of opacity can be used in a more advantageous way in your work. But there's different kinds, like this Craft Smart. These are rather inexpensive and don't have much to them. And then you get into these Dale Rowney from Walmart. These dry out in the blink of an eye. And then we get into these. Posca. Una Posca. Yeah, Poscas. And, we know that they're very opaque. So this is all some undercolors that I'm putting in and then just develop as I go. So what are we at? 113. We're doing a good time today, people. Good job, everybody. Good job, team. I'm buzzing. Why am I buzzing? Where are my kids? Okay. All right. So I'm putting some of these marks down and then pulling it away from it because that's the whole idea of some of these different approaches that we can take to giving the idea that there's a really bright wash of light pushing over somebody, and so you start to realize that this surface here, it's coming from an angle down below, this surface here is going to cast a shadow inside of here. This surface here, my big old schnoz, is going to cast shadow in behind here. And then these raised ridges is what's going to capture the light. So that's what we're pursuing. That's what we're chasing down here. Yep. Have you ever heard the ukulele orchestra? They flipping rock, seriously. There's all kinds of different things. There's these three guys that play cellos, and they do heavy metal tunes. And there's There's what are they called? Brown Sabbath. It is a jazz group that does early Black Sabbath songs. So if you can imagine horn sections and the like playing, and there's no lyrics. It's just this orchestral approach to it, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, dinner lurking. It sounds unique. I'm still thinking of S&G. The band Disturbed did a great Sound of Silence. Yeah, that was great. That was great. It's funny covers, like Johnny Cash covered Nine Inch Nails' "Hurt," and his version of it was so. There's a poignance to it that just you didn't get in the original. So. So this is where the shadow is going to be under here. And the shadow is going to move across the ridge here. And the shadow will be down inside as opposed to up in the crevasse that's up here. So every little bit just pushes it a little, a little more. Use those directional lines where you can. He's having an ouchie moment. Okay. I grew up with the big band music. I love big bands. Oh, yeah. Some great stuff there. Big Gene Krupa fan when I was a teenager. It made me want to be a drummer. There's a fantastic, if you get a chance, and if you don't mind poetry, Jack Kerouac's. There's a box set of things that were put out many years ago from Steve Allen's recordings with Jack Kerouac, where he's got Al Cohn and Zoot Sims playing accompaniment with him on the horns. And it's the same Al Cohn, by the way, that joined with Charlie Watts for the Charlie Watts Orchestra and founded that in Britain. So while Charlie Watts is the drummer for the Rolling Stones, he has a big band jazz group that he plays with in England with all these fantastic performers. Hey, bee, don't look at me. I'm not a flower. Anyways. Love Steve Allen. He was actually quite a proficient musician as well. But he was really into the alt scene, into the hipster scene and the bohemians, which is a little unconventional for his position at the time. So here's our guy getting a little more defined as we go. He's having a bad day. Okay, where are we at? So meeting of minds, yeah. Okay. Oops, wrong guy. Uh-oh. So you see the details of the hair in the top part, but not within this space right here directly around anyways. So we're just looking at underneath his face now. So if let's look at proportions. His suit is going to go like so. right? And if we have that in mind, and because the suit's going to blow open, then this is going to be the shape of things. And so we can apply our white into the lapels of the suit in this regard. Another fun drawing, Christopher. Thank you. Have to run later, guys. Bye, Deed. Okay, so whatever the value that choice that I make for the suit is going to carry over into here. Where is that crazy, crazy flesh town? Hey! All right. So because we're building up all these values and they're still working through one another, it gives an interesting carriage of light into the face, ideally. Tomorrow I'll be showing a bunch of books because I mentioned about doing it earlier today and just got right into the zone here. So follow the flow whenever you can and don't step out of it if you don't have to. Okay, so we're starting to develop the part of the brow ridge here, which is going to be largely in shadow, so that's okay. We'll get there. But we're just building up to it. All right. Right. Guy, he hosted the Tonight Show for a while and did some public broadcasting stuff too. The book Meeting of Minds is outstanding. Oh, nice. I'll have to read it. It's amazing, always amazing how the images appear in paper like magic. How did you know about that deal I made with a certain somebody? Well, that's very nice of you, Chris. Thank you. It's just Carnegie Hall, folks. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Lack of social life. I mean, practice. So this will be a raised value, but we'll get into that. We'll get there. Now the pink's not going to stay, but let's define the shirt, the dress shirt underneath here. And let's get into the teeth. Now, like I'd said earlier, at a certain point, like we start with a source image, let it go, right? And just more and more playing, more and more exploration of your own. You'll find that the image speaks to you more clearly that way. And again, we'll change our values here, but we're just putting this down here now. Let's start to put that here in. All right. Having a rough time, this guy. What have we got? Gary says, since Jim Luan hasn't appeared, question of the day. You win the lottery and can build yourself a house anywhere. Would it be a big cosmopolitan city, a mountain forest, or a beach? Try jelly printing when I'm free. That is December. I understand that. Yeah, as a teacher, it's tricky for you to get that time. Ruby's already answering Gary's question of the day. Small cottage on a Greek island. Janet says I'd rebuild right where I'm at on Monkey Island, next to the lake. Only thing I'd change is I'd wipe the other people out. Janet, are you familiar with the song Monkey Island by the band The Gorillas? You're welcome. You think you'll like it. On Monkey Island, I was born. Anyways. I love Greece, Greek culture. Are you Greek, Riri? Are you married to a Greek person? Hi, Gary. Easy one. Mountain forest with a bunker. Are you familiar with the computer game Monkey Island? We're just going to throw lots of Monkey Island stuff at Janet now. She'll have a whole theme going on. People go to visit her at Monkey Island, and there's just here's this from Monkey Island theme. Here's this Monkey Island theme. Don't even explain it to them. Just let them slowly be overwhelmed. Nope. I already live by the beach, so there's no need for the lottery. Oh, well, there you go. You're winning. Is there any place you'd rather, any other place you'd rather go, though? That's I think the magic thing. I'll have to look that up too, Gary. See, we're corrupting Janet. Yeah, the gorillas. Some of it you're not. I know you won't like, but some of it you might. Okay, so coming back in with the weight here, pushing some of these surfaces a little bit more. So if you're interested in, there's an artist named Fraser Irving. Fraser Irving, British gentleman, paints comics. And how Fraser goes about doing it is so miraculous to me. He has such a firm grasp on value. Okay, so now we're just pulling up some of those surfaces. Where are we at? My house has a moat around it and a drawbridge. I'm fine, thanks. Oh my goodness, your home's a castle. You need to talk to the rat about a moat. There you go. My best friend when I was a kid was Greek. I actually took language lessons with her after regular school. And no, I don't remember crap. I wish I did. But I've been to Greece twice. I wouldn't give up my place here in Virginia for anything, no. Yeah, we really like our place, largely because we built it ourselves. And, so it's what we want. And even after the kids, are adults and moving out, and after, I started working from home and still changing the house however we want it to be. It works for us, and we really like our place. I'm starting to dislike our neighborhood more and more, but we don't want to go anywhere. If we could, though, I'd pick this whole place up wholesale, and use the magic money from the lottery to literally pick up our house and put it someplace else. Lock, stock, and barrel, pick the whole place up, move out to the country. Or, in a small town. Because it still needs my interwebs. So as we go, this is what I'm talking about, like start sloppy and then refine, right? Some of that information comes in place. Also, a sign of the doorbell saying it's out of order works too. There you go. We got too many people with keys to this place. So there we go. We're putting these little reflections in and building up these surfaces. So think about the shapes of the face and where, what lines are where. So then as we're pulling these pulling these values back. I'm sorry, I got lost into this. We know where the really bright spots are that are going to see more of the light. But we're also pulling and pushing that light around in a dramatic fashion. There's no way that's comfortable. Anyways. Oop, sign over the door. Yeah. Okay, so this kind of works too, because it sort of makes our character, we've got the progression of movement moving up in this regard, but at the same time, it looks like, because he's flying backwards here and then moves directly into this panel, it's almost like he's being consumed, being absorbed into it. And then while I've just done a silhouette of this character for us to build on top of now, we get to do the explosion happening around him in here. And so a lot of the elements that are going to be in the foreground part of it are ones that are pushing this movement, this progression of movement. Or we can also choose to do the street scene behind him in reaction to it. Okay, so there's our guy, and I'm going to decide on the value behind. Now, what I have not put in here in any regard is the complementary to the root purple that's throughout this composition, with this predominant form here, the lettering here, these purples that are moving in around the exterior. So, we got to get busy with this character. And what I thought that I would do with this is to use it as what we would in other images use the white for, right? So if the explosion is happening, you'll be a helper. There you go. Okay. So now I can put this yellow through here, and I'll go over it again. Or I could actually just grab, opaque paint. But what I'm going to do is come in here through behind the guy. And so by putting this down here, when I fill in the color of the suit in here and in here and in here, well, in all 4 places, there should be some of that value brushed over top of the yellow. But better we put it in advance. So. We'll come in a couple times and make it far more brilliant, but that's why I get some coverage. But there we go. So you can see how now it sort of makes a little more impact on our character and the explosive aspect of the illumination in him by surrounding him with a high contrast color. That's the theory. Trevor says, I love being here at 1313 Mockingbird Lane. My roomie thinks the place is haunted. I've been here over 300 years and haven't noticed anything. Oh, thanks. I need to go. Lunchtime's here. I need to fix it. There you go. See you later, Chris. Take care. Okay, so that's what I'm going to pursue more in this panel as well, the explosion, and to just chase these values down. And I'm going to do white letters around where it says contents here, and walk us through our composition with the text moving like so around our image. And we need to lead our viewers' eye with the text through the image. So that's. We'll see you on Friday, Chris. Thank you. So that's the intention for this page. But we got a lot done today. Good job, team. One of these. See, that's the little action right here. See, that's the hand. Oh, patting ourselves on the back. When I was 30, I worked in sales and had a team. My name was Two Were Temporarily Out of Order. That's great. Okay, so those will be the things that I'm going to put into place for the remainder of this page. But we are at an hour 38, and for those that I know, my blood sugar has been crazy today, so I gotta be smart. So I'm gonna stick out for now. I hope people have enjoyed this process. It's a challenging suggestion, a one-page story done backwards. So that's what we're doing. Okay. I will be show this tomorrow. I'll have this posted tomorrow. And in the meantime, I'm interested to see what other people are doing. I hope those that are engaged in the zine swap are taking that up. This is for those that came in late. This is Beavers. There's Janet. This is the Beaver story. I saw this beautiful peach tree. I knew they grew it for me. So there's our boisterous blinking beaver and his friend who's having a cup of tea with him as he regales him with the story. And then he hears, hey, you! And it's all about armadillo tools and laughter. Okay. I will be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. In the meantime, I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye for now.